Chris Nebe. Warmly welcome to the show.
谢谢你老朋友。
Oh, good. That's good. I'm excited, especially when you and I sit down that the other day talking about the Belt and Road. I really started to see that you look at the Belt and Road from a broader sense into a deeper depth, more profound, another word, right? But one thing for your comment, I really have to ask you. You commented the other day that you saying that he will be, Xi Jinping, the president of China, after launching the initiative of Belt and Road, he will be the most revered leader of China after Deng Xiaoping.
Yes, because Deng Xiaoping was instrumental in opening up China and is the father of the success of modern China. So President Xi Jinping is taking this a step further, and it's a giant step actually, because the Belt and Road Initiative will mark his legacy, and it's the most important action of China in the 21st century. Because, it covers about 60% of the world population, and it's a very smart move and of China, because China can at this time use its knowledge of how to build infrastructure in a perfect way, and it will open up a new global era of cooperation which has never existed before in that dimension. It's almost a natural move, and it's such a simple idea because it's based on the old Silk Road, which was a huge success. Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan's Mongol warriors, Marco Polo, mullahs, monks, and merchants all traveled the legendary Silk Road in search of fame and fortune. With a documented history of well over 2,500 years, the Silk Road connected China with Central Asia, India, the Middle East, and Europe. It was history's most famous and fabulous trade route. China, in less than 40 years, has managed to create a state-of-the-art infrastructure because it didn't have it at all. Road systems in the inner cities, and high-speed rail system, airports, railway stations, perfect.
All the way to Tibet.
Yes, there is the Tibet Express train, which is now going to be extended to Nepal and then to India. You see, the whole thing has become, in these 40 years, they have become experts in building and creating an infrastructure which didn't exist. They started at zero. So, the result is that while America has been destroying large parts of the world, China has built its infrastructure, because I filmed 2 years ago on the Burmese-Laotian border, which is the most western part of China, and I also filmed in Xinjiang. The road system is universally perfect, and in the last pieces where it is not perfect are being built. So now China has basically completed the job, and now it is selling or exporting an expertise which it has gained over 40 years to Central Asia, to Iran, to Turkey, and to Russia. So this is a very good general plan, and this is just the beginning of like a net of connections. Yes, there have been so far over the last years 3,500 trips, and they are going to be extended to about 5,000 by 2020. And you see, this is the land Silk Road. Then there is the maritime Silk Road, which, as you mentioned before, was started with Admiral Cheng He, the Chinese navigator.
That's Ming Dynasty.
In the Ming Dynasty, where China had the biggest fleet on earth, but they did go to East Africa and to the Arabian Peninsula. So, China did something very smart. In Pakistan, there was a dilapidated, totally broken down port called Gavadar. China rejuvenated that port, rebuilt it, and created a perfect infrastructure for a container port. They have gained so much knowledge that now basically they are selling their infrastructure knowledge to countries who haven't got that. And there is, between Europe and China, there is Russia, there is Central Asia, there is the broken apart Middle East, but there is Iran and Turkey, which are functioning, and there's Pakistan, and there's Africa. So China very cleverly is now embarking on these areas, which they also, in most cases, can control our land. You see, it will be all a big, huge marketplace for different people, different societies, different cultures who have realized that fighting is stupid. Join the smart ones and live in peace and develop your economy with what you have in association by benefiting from the outside.
There is a kind of a cliche saying that the rise of China poses a fear to the United States.
The Americans have a tendency of trying to control the world for their own benefit, and they do this because the main power of the United States is a military-industrial complex, which rules American politics.
Yeah, Roger. I just estimate there's about 20 of them. Well, about 4 Humvees out along this line here. When the state line, let me know when you get.
And America is ruled by the gun. There is not one day where there is not killings by it's just normal news. And in that way also, America has become a bully in the world. While China has the tradition of peace and harmony and wants to create win-win situations. And this is not a political slogan in China, this is the DNA of China. Because if you look at the history of China, it has never really made aggressive wars, land grabs, or something.
That I agree, yeah.
I'm, of course, a staunch pacifist. I have experienced war myself, and I hate it. And therefore, I think violence is never a way to solve a problem. We all have violent tendencies, and violence is a part of life, but we cannot celebrate violence. And war is basically a celebration of violence. And there is no reason for war, because in the end everything can be solved by negotiations and mutual understanding and solving problems that way. You see, once upon a time, the middle class in America was the envy of the world. Everybody was appreciating the strong power of American middle class. The middle class has been eroded over the last decades, and therefore subsequently that solid basis for a functioning country is no longer so secure. In China, the middle class is increasing, and in America, the middle class is decreasing. Now, China has, within the last 40 years, lifted over 750 million people out of poverty.
That's half of their population.
Yes. They realize very clearly that if they create a middle class, and by doing, by alleviating poverty, you are creating a lower part of middle class, which then grows. That is beneficial for the whole country because it furthers consumption, etc., etc. There is a dynamic in China which you cannot and must not underestimate. The Chinese philosophy is a philosophy of peace and harmony, creating win-win situations. China is ahead of the game with the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road is not an altruistic thing. It's a very smart idea. The whole thing is a geopolitical, socio-economic masterstroke. You have to see it in the long run. China is ahead of the game. Make no mistake of it.
And a thorough analysis and profound looking into the Belt and Road Initiative launched by China. So, my dear audiences, thank you very much for watching, and to Chris, thank you very much for sharing.